at the same time. So I'm going to stick with the YouTube, or sorry, with the Facebook for just a minute here. Okay, now I am apparently live on both things, so I'm going to start showing you guys something here. There we go. All right. So first of all, I want to just start off by saying, please share this video so we can get as many people in as possible on all the different streams. I'm going to move this a little more because you don't really need to see me as much as you want to see the. So I'm going to flip between doing some stuff and checking comments. So you'll notice me do that quite a bit. So I'm going to work on this giant squid. The name is in the description, and I had it memorized, and now I forget. It's one of those names that's really hard to say, and I know it's hard to read. I do the dinosaur. I know most of the dinosaur names, but for some particular reason, this one is this one's a little harder to say. So anyway, I'm just checking some comments. I'm going to turn this guy around so everybody can see. So what I've done here, obviously you can see an armature with wire. This here is actually just a brick of really high density foam. It's very expensive stuff, but I know a guy who runs a company who does one of those big giant 3D prints. Excuse me. And he gave me some scraps that were left over. So that's what I decided to do. I decided to start this out as a carving, and because it's nice and hard, it works great for that. And then I was able to stick these wires right in and then form them. Now you can see that earlier today I started out with the last of my brown Aves epoxy sculpt. So this is my new one as of right now. So in just a minute, I'm going to start mixing that up. I'm just going to check over in comments. Actually, some of it I can do from my phone, I believe. So maybe I'll keep my phone closer to me so I'll be able to see some comments and go from there. But I do want to show you guys something really cool. I signed on to a Kickstarter campaign a while ago from a company called Primordial Profiles, and they do 3D printing of dinosaur skulls. And I recently received my skulls that I ordered through the Kickstarter. I'm just going to show you guys them right now. So this here is the Carnotaurus. Let me see if I can get that up. Isn't that beautiful? It's amazing. Very detailed, looks very accurate. I think some of these might even been scanned like from original fossil material. So what you're looking at is probably one of the most accurate 3D printed skulls. Now for me, the reason why I like these is because I usually will sculpt a 3D printed skull before I make a sculpture. So with this, the reason why I like these is because I can kind of skip that process, and I can know that the person who makes these makes them very accurate. I can rely on that. So I like to use these. I've never actually used one before in this size, so this will be the first time using one. So later this year, I'm going to make a Carnotaurus. This is a 10th scale. Again, I think it's beautiful. It's made out of a really good quality resin. It's actually a little bit, like it's pretty stiff, but it's actually just a little bit soft, just enough that it wouldn't break so easily. And here's the Allosaurus, one of my favorite dinosaurs of all time, Allosaurus fragilis. So I'll be making a sculpture from this as well. Probably the Carnotaurus first. I'll be saving the Allosaurus. But you can pick these up, Primordial Profiles. I'll put a link to the page where I got these in the comments when I'm done. So if you guys are interested in grabbing these, you can go pick some up. He has all kinds of different skulls and skeletons and stuff. So definitely check those out. So I just wanted to show you guys that. So I'm going to slide over, check some comments here quickly. Yes, they are very amazing. Okay, so let me just go back here. And I will try and find, again, I'll put the link to those a little bit later. So again, I'm working on the giant squid. The name for this squid is in the title. Again, I forgot how to pronounce it, which is pretty bad. But I'm sure a lot of people who would be watching this would know. Oh, John Stewart. Hey, buddy, how's it going? You're made of resin. Yeah, pretty much. I probably breathed enough of it in by now. So I'm just going to open these up. This is a two-part. So we got part, so that was part B. This is part A. I'm going to grab equal parts, mix it, and while I do that, I'm going to show you the guy that's behind and explain what's going on with him. I'm not going to mix up too much because I'm not going to be doing this for too long. I'm kind of actually under the weather. Oh, Mike Benedict. Hey, buddy. Thanks, man. I got to get up to the hometown and see some of you guys. It's been a long time. All right, so this stuff's kind of rough to get out. It's very sticky stuff. You want to make sure that you're measuring equal parts. It's pretty close there. I'd say it's pretty close. Yeah, let's go with that. So we're going to mix this up. Let's get this out of the way. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to slide this guy off to the side. I'm going to bring this other guy I've been working on. I think I did a little bit of a live video of this guy recently in the daytime a while ago, so some people might not have seen it. This is a 120 scale Torosaurus that I've been working on. He'll be made available as resin kits as soon as I'm done building him. I gotta finish the legs. Obviously, there's some more layers to go on there. It's kind of hard to see him right now, so I'm actually gonna, just while I'm mixing this up, I'm gonna quickly move the giant squid out of the way, and then I'm gonna bring the light right over top so you can see him a lot better. Tilt him. He's kind of galloping, so his legs are in kind of a funny position right now. I'll spin him around so you can see the other side. So that's what I'm doing with him, but I'm not going to work on him tonight. I'm just going to work on the giant squid. That's going to be, oh, Primal Gamer on YouTube. Did I miss much? Wanted to say, man, your sculptures look beautiful. Thank you so much, buddy. Hopefully my new ones will just improve on the old ones. This year I'm kind of working on doing a lot of things that I haven't done before. With the giant squid. That's something I've never done before. I'm going to do some stuff with some birds. And I'm also going to get into mammals. Actually, I'll quickly show you guys something cool, and then we'll start working on this. So this here is the armature for a woolly rhinoceros. Very interesting creature with a flat horn. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, with the rhino, because I haven't done anything like that, This stuff's getting all over me. I should use gloves. I actually ordered a white rhino model from PNSO, which is an awesome company. They make beautiful models. So if you want some models of dinosaurs and animals and marine reptiles for display, and you want them at a reasonable price, they're definitely the ones you want to check out. If you go to the US Amazon website, you can see their stuff. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm just about done mixing this. You got to just make sure it's mixed really well, because it is a two-part epoxy clay, so it has to be mixed really well. We're almost done here. So if you guys have any questions about the process, feel free to let me know. Sorry if my voice sounds like it's going in and out every time I go to check my computer. It's because my computer is a little farther away and I'm not actually wearing my microphone. I got to get a new battery for it. All right. Just checking to see if there's any questions on any other broadcasts. I'm actually broadcasting right now to 3 different, I'm on my Facebook page, which is where I like to do most of my broadcasting, but I know not all my friends are on my Facebook page yet. If you're watching and you're not, please go like and follow the Dinosaur Dungeon Facebook page, because that's where I like to do most of my live videos. All right, I think this is mixed up well enough, so we're going to leave it there. I'm going to move some of these tools off to the side. All right, and we're going to start laying this on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put it on the shell area. Just cover the hard shell. Hopefully I mixed enough. I just want to do a very thin layer anyway for now. So let's turn them to one side. You guys will see the back end. And this clay will stick to the foam very well, but it will also stick to my hands very well. So I just have to be mindful of that. I find this new technique of using this carving foam is a really good way to get a basic shape and save yourself some money, because clay, the epoxy clay, sculpting, all the clays can be fairly pricey. So this is a good way to do that. And you'll notice that I keep dipping my hands in water as I'm working. That's because, again, this epoxy is very sticky on your hands. So it can be really annoying that way to try and work. So we're just going to keep pressing this in, and I want to make sure that I don't go too far yet. I want to just get this right to the edge of the hard shell, and then I'll stop. If I have extra clay, then I'll go farther. But I want to make sure that this is done properly. So we'll do that first, and then we'll go from there. So this is a prehistoric squid. Very large animal. This is in a 1/20th scale. If anyone's wondering the scale, I know a lot of people who collect are always wondering scale sizes. So this is 120, so it actually would be in scale to that Torosaurus over there. Just gonna check. Check some comments for a second. All right, for me personally, start sculpting. Well, so I've got a question on YouTube about starting out with sculpting. So the key is starting out, I would say, is just practice. Get some books on animal anatomy, if that's what you're going to sculpt, human anatomy. If you're going to get into like the creature design and do a lot of aliens and stuff that are based off of human beings, then get Gray's Anatomy and other figure anatomy books, stuff like that. For dinosaurs, there's a good book. It's very rare now. It was out in the 90s and then they redid it about 4 years ago. I think it's called The Beginner's Guide to Sculpting Dinosaurs. So if you can get your hands on that book, and I do believe you can still get the Kindle edition actually pretty easily. So I bought the Kindle edition the second time around, but it's actually how I got into sculpting. Again, it's pretty sure it's called The Beginner's Guide to Sculpting Dinosaurs. And I'll have to look, but if you type that into the search engine in Amazon, you will be able to find it without too much of a problem. But references, and then what I did when I started sculpting when I was a teenager, I just bought plasticine. I used hanger wire, which I know we don't really have metal coat hangers anymore, but if you do, you probably were looking to get rid of them anyway, so cut them up and make them into an armature, and then just kind of bulk out your sculpture with tin foil, some masking tape, anything to kind of bulk it out, and then just use like that $2 a brick plasticine and sculpt with that. And then if you can pull off something that you're kind of happy with, you know, after a few tries, then you're probably gonna realize that you can sculpt, and the rest is history. And also YouTube now is a lot better resource for this is too thick right here. YouTube is much better resource for sculpting. There's all kinds of videos on sculpting. Now, mind you, when you search, you're going to get a lot of results for digital sculpting as well. I'm just going to, now, to change the subject for a minute, what I have here is I have Abe's Safety Solvent. So this is their kind of clay smoothing, clay softening. So, and it works much better than water. The water I just use mostly to stop my own hands from sticking, but this stuff kind of softens it up a little bit and makes it easier to smooth. You don't need too much of it either. This clay is excellent for sculpting, especially for the fact of its strength, right? Even if I was going to sculpt with a different clay over top, I usually sculpt with this on the bottom because this is going to keep everything intact. Let me just head over here and check out prehistoric squid. Yes, it is. All right. There we go. So, all right, so we're smoothing it out. We're going to keep going along here. And start doing the underside here of the back. Just kind of smooth it in. So this clay, the nice thing about this clay too is that it kind of has different properties at different stages. After about 2 hours, I would say you're pretty much done with it. That's about all you've got. So if you're beginning, this is not a clay for somebody who hasn't sculpted yet. Then this is a clay that you would use after you're really comfortable and you kind of can get some speed down. That would be my my suggestion with this clay. Is once you got it down to where you can bulk out a form in a relatively short amount of time, then you would use this clay. But this clay also is not great for really detailed sculpting or anything like that in the beginning. Like right now you can see that, especially after putting that solvent on, I've got it all over my hands. It's very sticky. It's not really nice to work with at all. But that's okay because I don't want that. I don't need the detail or anything right now. I'm just bulking it out. I just keep dipping my hands in this water over here, which allows me to keep it off my hands. And spin this around a little bit. And then after about 30 minutes, it's going to get a little stiffer, and that's when we can do something with it. We can start adding some detail. Now with this guy, he's going to kind of be mostly form. You don't really see skin detail on squids. You know, there's going to be a lot of detail. There'll be some shapes, stuff to rough in. If you're interested in seeing a lot of my work on a daily basis or semi-daily basis, you can follow me on Instagram. Same thing, Dinosaur Dungeon. I post a lot of pics on there all the time. I don't just post my sculpting on there either. I post a lot of, I also collect dinosaurs, dinosaur models, sculptures, books, fossils, whatever. So if I'm not working on something, then I'm usually posting something that I've picked up, some kind of deal I've found or whatever. So please check me out on Instagram. I'm on Twitter as well. Kind of the same posts. I find that primarily right now I'm liking Instagram better than anything, even Facebook. I just find it's a quick way to share my work and get it out there. And I have my Dinosaur Dungeon Facebook page set up so that it kind of shares my Instagram, but I do appreciate anyone who follows me on both. Social media is kind of one of those things where you got to keep the momentum going, which I actually find hard sometimes because it's an interesting balance, because to be on social media all the time is to not really be focused on creating, but you get people to like and want your work, you got to share it on social media. So you got to find a good balance, you know. Smear this in here. So this is actually working out really nice. I like what I'm seeing here. I'm going to get out some tools here in a minute because I'm kind of getting to the point where I can't do much more with my hands. And then I'm going to just smooth this out with some tools. I'm just going to pull this guy off. And let's move that so that'll spill. I got this one a little bit too tight, possibly. All right, so now you can see that I've also, if you can flip him over, get some work done that way. I'm not too worried about the this piece of wood, because when it's all said and done, well, that's when you come out. So let's smear the bottom of it here. Before I'm done with this guy, I'm going to have to probably print out some references, because I've kind of heard some stories about this guy. Some people are saying that no, he's more like a vampire squid, where he would have the webbing between the tentacles. So we're gonna have to do a little more investigation with that. So I finished up smearing it around that one part. So I'm gonna go over to this one more question. Any plans for Velociraptor or Pachycephalosaurus? Well, the truth is that originally I hadn't planned on a Velociraptor, but I get so many requests for Velociraptor on my Facebook page and my Instagram that I'm probably going to see if I can't pick up one of those skulls from Primordial Profiles and maybe bust out a nice Velociraptor. Will it be Jurassic Park style? Well, probably not. I might actually do both, though. We'll see. Again, it's one of those things where you kind of need to do some things that people want, right? This here is a commission piece, so it's not one of those things where I decided that, oh, well, I'll make this because so many people will want one, because I don't know how popular it is. We will find out, because although it is a commission, I have been given the right to make it into a kit, a limited number, if I choose to do so. So probably what I'll do with this guy is, when it's done, I'll share nice photos with a nice background, and then we'll go from there. Kind of see, just put the feelers out, see what people want. You know, if it turns out that somebody would want a limited edition of this guy in the collection, well, then you might get your wish, and I might just bust out 10 of them quickly, 10 kits. Or I might even do something entirely new and bust out some finished pieces. So I'm liking this here. It's getting some spots I don't necessarily like. We're going to clean it up now. We're going to take this tool. We're going to rake it along, clean it up, and I have some extra clay. I'm going to save that for just a few minutes. It can't be saved, obviously, completely, because again, it's epoxy clay. It's a chemical process of hardening, and it's gonna harden in a few hours time. It actually takes 24 hours though to completely set up. So just because you can't use it after a few hours does not mean it's 100% set up. So you don't want it to fall on the floor or anything like that. Oops. Be careful here. It's okay if it's getting these little lifts, because I'm going to have to add to it. I'm going to add some kind of fin or something coming off the back, and probably something sticking out the back end. What have you used as a base to add the clay to. Okay, so for this guy, I'll explain this. You can see a little bit of it left by the head. This is a really dense carving foam. It's used for those CNC lathes, I think they're called, like when they print out giant 3D letters or a 3D whatever and image, and then they put like a resin over top. A lot of, I think, large scale things from movies are done that way. Anyway, it's a giant block, comes in like a 4x8 sheet. So yeah, no, that's cool. Liam, thanks for checking my video out anyway, buddy. You know I love answering questions. But yeah, it's a really thick foam. It's I actually got it as scraps. I have a friend who works in an industry. Oh, actually, I'll show you a piece of it right. This is a scrap right here from a 4x8 sheet. It's huge and it's so dense and hard, but you can carve it. I use like a rasp and carve into it. So I kind of carved the basic shape of the squid. But you don't need to do that. You could actually achieve the same effect. And I think Nick, who's on our on the prehistoric models and sculptures group, which is an awesome group, by the way. If you guys are actually doing sculpting or model kit building and it has to do with prehistoric stuff, then you can join that. Liam runs that, I believe. You should check it out. And you guys would enjoy that. But he uses balsa foam, and you can get balsa foam from the art store, and you can pretty much do the same thing. It'd probably be easier. This stuff's actually pretty hard to carve, but it's really super durable when it's done. There we go. See, this time I'm trying not to touch. Now, from what I've heard, and this is the reason why balsa foam would probably be better, is that this clay, or sorry, the foam is actually flammable. So I don't want to light it up and test it out. But like if I wanted to do my next layer in Sculpey, it probably wouldn't be a good idea. So if what I've been told about this foam is true. There we go. Just try to make kind of like an edge. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna use this brush. Come in and smooth what I just scraped off. All right, so I'm just gonna let you guys take a peek at that. So right now I'm gonna check the comments. So right now would be a good time to ask any questions about what I've done so far. Feel free to ask questions or comment if you guys know anything about the particular species that I'm sculpting and you think there's something that could be better or different. Feel free to let me know. There we go. Just checking all of the different. Okay. Do you recommend any certain place to find airbrushes to do these kinds of sculptures? Okay, well, that's kind of something a little bit different, but yeah, I can talk about that. Obviously, when you're done making a sculpture, like especially out of this stuff, because it's hard, this could be a one-off. You don't need to mold and cast. Obviously, another thing you're going to want to do is paint it. One of my favorite airbrushes to paint with, I'll show it to you guys right now just because it's close and handy, and someone asked about painting the sculptures. This is hold on, let me move my light here. Can everyone see that? The Sotar 2020. There we go. Sotar 2020 from Badger. I've used a lot of different airbrushes, but still one of my absolute favorites. So let's move this guy in a little closer so you can see him. So that's definitely my favorite airbrush. I recommend the Neos, the cheap Neo by Iwata. They work excellent. I find you don't really need to get the more expensive ones. They work great for me anyway, so they're good brushes to have. I've got the siphon feed for larger work, and then the gravity feed for smaller work, and my Sotar is for fine detail work. Okay. Okay, so question about wires. The wires for the arms or the tentacles. So this one here, I've used two kinds of wire. And I'll show it to you quickly. So I've got, there we go. So I got this wire here. It's relatively small, and I can't tell you what gauge it is, but you'll probably be able to figure it out in a minute. It's a small gauge, but it comes from like a farm supply store for like tying off fencing. So although it's thin, it's very, very tough. Like it's actually fairly stiff and hard to bend for the size of it. I got it from a place called TSC. It's a farm supply store, but I don't know if that's in the States. It's here in Canada. And then this wire, which I got from Michael's, which you're all familiar with, floral wire. This stuff's really thin. This is a newer kind that they had on a little square. And that's what it's wrapped around with. So pretty much what I've done is I've used these two different kinds of wire plus that piece of foam that I carved, and that works excellent for what I'm doing here. So I'm just gonna, I noticed kind of something in here that I don't like. No, it's actually not as bad as I thought, but I can see an indent. It doesn't look like it's completely in the middle. So I like to use these. There we go. These are like silicone tip tools, nice rubber tools, and they work really nice for smoothing out. There's a, they're gonna get some of this goop off that I kind of made. I've made like I put too much solvent on, so I've kind of made like a slurry, unfortunately. So I'm just gonna scrape some of it off. I'm going to show you another way to clean up faster. So there's this, but I also have a nice rubber rib here. And I'm going to use that in 1 second. Just got to flip that over. Do another thing. Just flip over. All right. So I'm going to come along with this rib. Now, these jelly bean rib looking things are really awesome for smoothing out large areas quickly. And in this case, we're also scraping some of that slurry off. Let's make it look nice. I'm liking it now. I'm just going to press it in to some of the spots too at the back because I want to keep this ridge. And look at this kind of ridge thing going on here. There we go. Sorry, I just got a little focused here. It's the thing with live videos, entertaining you guys while I'm sculpting. Hopefully you find the process a little bit entertaining. I know it's not a fast one, but I know that at least some of you guys who are watching do like to sculpt yourselves. So I think that for those of you who do, you're going to find this interesting. Now, one other thing I want to use, I'm not sure where it goes. Over here. There we go. This is kind of a rough sponge, like a scraping sponge. This is another good way to clean up. Kind of clean up and smooth the sculpture. And the nice thing about what I'm doing right now too is because I probably will add a second thin layer, I'm not sure yet, but most likely making this kind of marking in it will give some kind of texture for the next layer to grab. I find it's pretty good adhering to itself anyway, but it is nice to give it a little bit extra. And I probably, like I said, I will have to make it a little bit higher up. All right, so I do have a bunch of clay left over. It's actually getting nicer to use, so I'm going to put that over the face a little bit. I'm going to work on the face for about 15 minutes, and I'm going to end the live videos at about 9 o'clock. In the meantime, though, I'm going to check and just make sure. So again, we're entering about the last 10 to 15 minutes. So anybody have any other questions, let me know. If I don't respond right away, that's because, again, I'm flipping through. So, and for those of you who are watching on my Facebook pages, please also head over to my YouTube and subscribe. I have a lot of videos, like edited videos of sculpting tutorials and techniques on there. So if you're interested in learning more, please head on over to that and subscribe. That definitely helps out. I want to get back to focusing on my channel. I haven't been doing that as much as I would like to, that's for sure. All right. So with this, I'm going to be a little bit more careful because I want the grooves that I've already set up. So what I've noticed just tonight, actually, in the way I've been doing this, is that when I use the water, it helps me smooth it out. but the water dries and the clay is still the same hardness. When I use their safety solvent, it makes the clay itself softer. There we go. So I want to get this right in. I want this to be really thinned out. I don't want much. Going on, and I got to be careful too because I have a spot for the eyes and I want to keep that spot. I'm not ready to do anything around the eyes, so I want to make sure that as I'm building this up, I'm keeping that open. So again, I'm going to go over and do this exact same spot on the other side first. Try and keep it even so it looks the same. Then I'll check the comments to see if anyone else has any. I've got it. Whoop, I've got it sitting on my Facebook page right now. I'm on the Dinosaur Dungeon Facebook page. That's kind of in my default of where to leave it. That's where I've been getting the most questions. So again, if you're watching from another spot and your question hasn't been answered yet, if you head over to the Dinosaur Dungeon Facebook page, you might get a response a little faster, because as of right now I can actually see that. I'll just smoothing this out. It's cut. Got too much there right now for what I want. Let's come in, do the same thing that we did on the other side, put that smooth in there. Again, I can see it covering the eye area. You don't want that. Nice. Nice. Smooth transition down the face. These squids are very interesting. And just quickly, I'll tell you something about the name of this guy that I did find interesting, is that I think a lot of people find his name very hard to pronounce. Oh, and you know what? I just realized I have another screen right over top of my workspace, and I could have put some of your comments in a new window over top of that instead, and I didn't, so I'm sorry about that. So I'm just going to check. Make sure there's no comments. All right. So I'm just going up here, checking this area, keeping it smoothed out as best I can. Obviously, I'm going to have to do some more work. So I'm going to work on these pieces up here. I'm going to roll this clay out this time for this part. I think what I'm going to do, no, use all of it. I think I'm going to go like this, put it down, then put it along like this. There we go. I like that idea. I can roll it into the spots that I want it to go in. And push it down with this guy. I need a smaller one right here. So this one will work in here. All right. Get that smooth in there. Yeah, this clay is beautiful to work with. You can tell that it's actually getting nicer. Sculpt it as I go along. Flat that out a little bit more. So once I end this video, I'll take some pictures of it where it's at, and I will post them on Instagram. There we go. So I'm liking where this is going. I'm going to roll out another one. Put that down there. Flatten it out. I think I'm not sure if I like this one. I think I rolled it too thin. I'm just going to get some water here. There we go. Try to smear that. And we'll put the grooves in it properly. So we've got this. So all we got to do is do the two very top ones, and that's where I'm going to end it. So I'm almost there. I'm just going to smooth this out a little bit more, and then I'm going to do the last two, and then we'll end the live video after that part. I'm almost done here. And some of this will be probably as far as I'm going to go with this, so I want to make sure that it's nice and smooth before I do it. I don't want to leave it a mess. So it's coming along quite nicely, as you can see. Getting some good shape going on here. I pulled some of the stuff off here. So we'll just do, I'll fix that after I shut the video off, but we'll just do this top two tentacles coming out here, and then I think I'll check for any last little bit of questions, and then that'll be it. All right. So we'll cut this in half. There we go. Now, this is going to be tough. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to roll each of them tinier, because if you can see the top, that they've got to look like they're coming out of there. Kind of. So we're going to roll them nice and thin. Get them up like that, push them to one side. There we go. And of course, it wants to stick to my hands again. That's one thing you gotta still try and make sure your hands are wet as much as possible, at least for the time being. Now, I know that some people actually use baby powder. And that could be another way. So we'll do this. Get it smoothed in. There we go. Put the last one up. And we'll see how it looks and we go from there. There we go. Love to do some work. Sticky hands. There we go. All right, so this video's kind of went on a little bit longer. I know I kind of got a little more intense right near the end of the video with not talking as much. So I think we're gonna smooth it out right there. Actually, I'm gonna bring this a little bit down. Kind of got it up a little bit too high, I think. So I can't really see what I'm doing, so I've got to bring it down like this. There we go. Got to lower this part down because it's not getting into where I want it. Oops, I'm squeezing another part in here. Let's pull this down. Get in here just to this last, well, there we go. I finally got it to join. Sometimes you just got to switch out your tools. There we go. Squeeze this in a little bit. That's okay, we're going to run over it again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave it kind of like that for now. I'm going to go over it in a minute when I'm done the video. But you can see right there, we've got the beginnings of a giant squid. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm going to quickly check. Give you guys one more minute to ask any more questions. I'm going to check all my things. So, and this video has went on for just about an hour now, which is, I think, probably long enough before people start losing the train of thought. So we'll end it there. So again, please, guys, check out my my Instagram, Dinosaur Dungeon. If you can, please follow me on there. I have a lot of stuff that I do on there all the time. That's where I post most of my daily stuff that I do in regards to let's see if I put that in the comments. Hopefully I was able to do that. Oh, see, oh, there we go. Sorry, I missed some stuff here. So Liam, baby powder would keep the clay from sticking to the rest of the clay. Yes, that's could be as well. Alex, what animals did you take inspiration from for this sculpt? Well, I looked at, sorry I missed that comment until the end. I looked at some prehistoric squids, some original paintings that were done. One was by Charles Knight. So that's kind of what I've been basically following. I have a buddy who's usually on here at night, and he is from Toronto, and he did, actually, if you can see the little blue outline, he did that and some other artwork. So that's where I got the inspiration for that from. So and I'll keep researching. Like, I'll probably stop pretty much where I am, and then I'm going to go over and look at some stuff. And like I said, I got to do the research to see how closely related to this vampire squid that it is, and go from there. And we'll kind of keep evolving it as it goes along. So, and I got one last question from YouTube, and that is what? So sorry. So what's your favorite kind of dinosaur to sculpt? Well, theropods, they are pretty much the ones that I like to sculpt the most. I enjoy sculpting the sauropods as well. So those are my two favorites. I'm getting into the Ankylosaurs, the ceratopsians. So pretty much any kind, but Allosaurus is my favorite. Carnotaurus and Rhinoceros are kind of my second, third favorite for dinosaurs. Brachiosaurus I love. Ceratops and Zool, obviously, because they're dinosaurs from Toronto, which is very near to me, and the ROM is a place that I grew up going to, so any dinosaurs that's found by that group are dinosaurs that I really like, and that's why I enjoy sculpting them as well. But you will see lots of new things from me, so please follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and don't forget to check out also the primordial profiles and get yourself some resin skulls, because they are pretty awesome, as I was explaining in the beginning of the video. So check those out, and have a good night, and we will see you all again very soon. I'm going to do a poll tomorrow asking some questions about sculptures, so please answer that, and it will give me some good ideas with going ahead on stuff. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and have an excellent night.